chapter on crop production and management. Introduction. So, India has the most important crops including like cotton, tea, rice, wheat and sugarcane, and other important cash crops like jute, groundnuts, coffee, oil seeds and spices. Cash crops means which we are selling it. So next, another central feature of India is agricultural economy, like raising the livestock, like particularly like cattle, horned cattle, buffaloes and goats. In 2005, in the country, one country had 185 million cattle, so substantially more than almost any other country. Okay, so the cattle are used mainly as draft animals and for leather. So the cattle are mainly used for only to draft animals and for a leather. As farmers increasingly use machinery, so the number of livestock they raise is probably decreased. So buffalo is the main animal which produce milk and dairy products for us. So milk production and distribution increased dramatically in 1990s because the nationwide and government supported cooperative dairy program. So sheep also raised like wool, goods or main meat animals. Many Indians, like particularly Hindus, refused to eat beef for religious reasons, although they eat other meat, eggs and fish. So next we are going to say about crop. When plants of same kind are grown and cultivated at one place on a large scale, it is called a crop. So when plants which in the same kind which is grown and cultivated in one place with the use of large scale is called crop. For example, a crop of wheat means that all the plant grown in a field are that of wheat. So when the one crop is meant only for wheat means in that field only wheat may grow. So next, this is a crop. Okay. So next we are going to see about types of crops. In this types we have kharif crops and rabi crops. So let's get into the kharif crops. The crops which are sown in the rainy season are called kharif crop. The rainy season in India is from June to September. So kharif crops, it is only sown in the rainy season, or it is also called as kharif crop. So we get rainy season in India from June to September. So for example, paddy, maize, soya bean, groundnut, cotton, etc. These are all the for example for kharif crops. So rabi crops are the crops grown in the winter season or rabi crops. Their time period is generally from October to March. So the crops grown in the winter, it is called as rabi crops. Like in the time period, it's generally starts from October to March. So for example, like wheat, gram, pea and mustard and linseed. So next, basic practicals of production. Cultivation of crop involves several activities. These activities are referred as agricultural practices. So cultivation, it has a different several activities. So let's see, these activities are preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizers, irrigation, protecting from weeds, harvesting and storage. So cultivation, these are all the activities which farmer will do to cultivate a crop. So next, preparation of a soil. So the preparation of soil, it is the first step before a growing of a crop. So the important task is the agriculture to turn the soil into loosened, like some hard particles into solid particles. So this allow the roots to deep into the soil. The loose soil allows the root to breathe easily even when they go deep into the soil. So the loosened soil, soil is always helps in the growth of earthworm and microbes which is present in the soil. So the organisms are friends to the farmers since further turn and lose the soil and add humus to it. Okay. So next, tilling. The process of loosening and turning the soil is called tilling or plowing. This is done by a plow. Okay, so this is they like this one. This is named called plow or tilling. They'll just use some cows to stamp the soils. So next, agriculture implements for tilling. So plow. In olden days, people use wooden plow, but nowadays people use iron plow. So this is wooden plow. This is an iron plow, which is used to stamp the soil and separates in a line. So next, agricultural implements for tilling. Hoe. It is a simple tool which is used for removing weeds from a loosening the soil. And the cultivator. Nowadays, plowing is done by tractor-driven cultivator. The use of cultivator saves labor and time. So this is the cultivator. Okay, they will just drive the land to plow. So next, second one is sowing. So just selection of seeds. So sowing, which is an important part of a crop production. So before sowing, we need to see the good quality seeds and we need to select that. The good quality seeds should be clear and healthy seeds for a good varieties. So farmers always prefer to seeds which give a high yield. So next, tools used for sowing seeds. Traditional tools. The tools used traditionally for sowing seeds is shaped like funnel. Okay, the tool, it is traditionally shaped like funnel. So these seeds, it's filled with funnel and passed down through 2 or 3 pipes having sharp heads. So these end pierce into the soil and place seeds there. So traditional method of sowing. This is the traditional method to sow. But nowadays, tools used for sowing seeds. Seed drill. Nowadays, the seed drill is used for sowing with the help of tractors. This tool sows the seed uniformly at proper distances and depth. It also ensures that seeds get covered with the soil. So this is the seed drill. Okay. So next, adding manure and fertilizers. So the substances which are added to the soil, it has form a nutrition and healthy growth for plants. So these are called as fertilizers and manure. So the soil always supplies the mineral nutrients to the crop, and these nutrients are the essential for the growth of plants. So in certain areas, in the same farmers grow crop field. This field is never uncultivated or fallow because of the continuous growing of crops makes the soil poorer in certain nutrients. Therefore, farmers have to add manure to the field to replenish the soil with nutrients. So these processes called as manuring. Improper or insufficient manuring results in weak plants. Okay. So next, manure and fertilizers. So manure is an organic substances obtained by the decomposition of plant and some animal wastes. So it is prepared in the field and it provides a lot of humus to the soil. So it is relatively less rich in plant nutrients. So fertilizer is an inorganic salt. So these are prepared in factories. It doesn't provide any humus to the soil. So fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So next, for example, like urea, super phosphate, potash, NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. So NPK, okay. So next, a man adding fertilizer. So this is the new way of adding a fertilizer, and this is the old way to add the fertilizers. So irrigation. So this is the supply of water to the crops in a different intervals. So this is called irrigation. So the sources of irrigation are well, pond, lake, rivers, dam, tube wells and canals. So we have two types of irrigation: traditional method and modern method. So traditional method of irrigation are the chain pump, motor, pulley system, Dikli, Rahat, lever system. So some other methods of irrigation are these are the. So these are the traditional methods, okay. So next, the modern methods are sprinkler system, drip system. So this is the process of sprinkler systems. So they will just set a pipe into underground of soil with the use of well, and they will just on the switch, and it just goes in a submain line and flush valve. So it will just flush everywhere. This is the thing. So next, protection from weeds. So you all know field. In a field, there is another undesirable plants which always grow by naturally with a crop. So these are called the undesirable plants, or called as weeds. So weeds can also be controlled by a use of certain chemicals called weedicides. Okay. So for example, the manual removal includes physical removal of weeds by uprooting or cutting them close to the ground from time to time. So the manual removal, by physical removal, they will just use, or it will just grow and uproot or cutting them close to the ground for a time to time. This is done with the help of a sickle, kurpi or a seed drill. So a man spraying weedicides, so it may die. So next, harvesting. Harvesting of a crop is an important task. Cutting of a crop after its maturation is called harvesting. It can be done manually with the help of sickle or by a machine called harvester or combine. So in the harvested crop, the grain was separated from the chaff by the process of winnowing or threshing. So this is the sickle and this is the combine. The sickle are used to cut each crops, but the combine are used to just cut every combined crops, and they will just store it in a truck. So next, last, storage. So farmers have to store these grains in a huge bags or a metallic bin. So it will be in a large scale storage of grains, or called as silos or granaries, to protect the pests like rats and insects. So animal husbandry. So animal reared at home or in a farm, it's provided with the proper food, shelter and care. So when it is done in a large scale, it is called as animal husbandry. Okay guys, so these are all the topics which we learned in chapter 1, crop production and management.